Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. Today we've got symmetries. We're dealing with symmetries. We start in 5 minutes. This is the session that I do daily to prepare the adults and the older learners for what we're doing in the morning. You don't need a whole lot in the morning. If you've got squared paper, that'll be great. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing my sharing. We had a bit of a disaster this morning. I've just found a new way to use my visualizer, and it meant pressing lots of buttons, and I pressed the wrong button and I closed down the live. So I'm doing my best to be ready with plenty of time and nice and calm, so that I'm very careful about what buttons I press. That's the theory. That is the theory. So we've got symmetry challenge. We'll be starting in 4 minutes. Symmetry challenge. I am just posting the URL of the activity so you can download it. Now, today you're either going to need square paper, which works great. There's also some square paper, little squares in the resource which you can print out. And if you can't print them out, that's all right. We're going to do them on the board, and they're actually quite simple to draw. And then there's also a poster. The poster is for you to fill in, and it's the essence of the activity. If you can manage to do the poster, will how do I make this happen? There we go. Yes, there's the link. And now I'm going to, start the watch party at 8 o'clock. I think that sounds like a good plan, if I can just stand by for as long as that. So as I say today, coloring pens as well. So nice colors. I've got my ones. Well, I've got those over there, but I'm going to do it on the board. So, well, you know what? No, let me get some of these as well. And that way I've got, I can do them on a piece of paper as well, because these are much better on paper than the whiteboard markers. Besides, it's a waste of whiteboard markers. Right. So we have symmetry challenge. The time is 2 minutes to. So we'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Symmetry challenge. I'm not going to start the watch party until I'll start it at 1 minute to. So what else have we got? So please do, if you find these lives are valuable every day, please do share them. Please share this live now if you are finding these lives valuable, and let your friends know what you find valuable about it, and encourage them to join if you think that's a good idea. The other thing, I've taken on a challenge today. I'm working on a program for learning your times tables with my friend Grace, who is the creator of the Race to Infinity game by Bigenio. And one of her things that she's been working on for years is helping young learners to learn their times tables. Well, I don't know my times tables. So we decided it would be an excellent challenge to, first of all, this week, my challenge is to know my 6 times table. And I mean instant recall 6 times table, because I can work it out, but I don't have instant recall, which means I lose a lot, especially when it comes to algebra and number manipulation. We have numbers at the top and bottom, and all the connections between the numbers are things that I'm weak on because I don't know my times table. They stand you in really good stead when it comes to working with bigger numbers and just approximating, so you've got an idea that 6 sevens, what are 6 sevens? Here we go again. What are 6 sevens? 6 sevens are 42. I had to work it out. But if you see a number that's 4,200 or 4,200,000, if you have that instant recall on that knowledge, you know that that's about 7 600,000s, if I got that right. And you don't have to double, triple think it as much as I do, because I don't have that number knowledge. Here we go. It's 8 o'clock, starting the watch party. And welcome to this evening's live, and what we're doing is it's a session for the adults and the older learners to find out what we're doing tomorrow, to make preparations for it, and just to summarize it and let you know what the benefits are going to be for the learners with the activity. Well, I'm going to now share. I'm going to do my best to share my screen without hanging up on you like I did this morning. Here it is. There we go. And share, not end. That's what I did this morning. All right. So I'm sharing my screen. Well, my screen, yes, that's my screen, and my screen has got my visualizer on it. See, that's the key to it. Now I know how to do it. I've worked it out. And there you go. And it's a symmetry challenge. Quite simple. Let's see if we can adjust the focus there. Whee, that's better. The symmetry challenge. So the question is, how many symmetric patterns can you make by shading whole squares in a 3x3 grid? There you go. Simple as that. Simples. So as it says, you can start, and we're going to do that now. We're going to start off with a 2x2 grid just to get familiar with it and start looking into it. And we're also going to do that. Yes, I'll show that now, and then we'll do it again in the morning. And then a simple extension, as it says, is you can use a, what's the kind of paper this is again? The there's a kind of the isometric grid. That's it. Using an isometric grid to do the same activity with triangles. Now, what we're going to do is oh boy, get the paper. That's it. We got wait. Oh my goodness. Well, that's not very interesting. Well, if you download the activities, you don't have to print them all out like I do. It was suggested to me today or yesterday that I actually do these sharing the screen, looking at the, well, I could do that, looking at the online resource. I'm not printing it out. The problem with that for me is that it means pressing more buttons and gives me much greater likelihood of, well, failing, not to put too fine a point on it, and cutting you off. So we're going to use the screen behind, and this gives me a chance to actually do the drawing. I'd much rather draw it like this than on a computer screen, because my skills, well, skills, that's a joke. Look at that, some skills I've got. So we've got it grid. Oh, I said we would start with a 2, so I'll start with a 2 over here. Boing. 2x2. There we go. One. Oh, that's where it was a bit better until I had to go up. So we're looking for all the symmetries in a 2x2 grid. So we'll start with none, as in none of the squares filled in. Well, if we have none of the squares filled in, then we've got symmetry 2. Let me see, we've got a line of symmetry here, a line of symmetry. Let's just draw them here. A line of symmetry there, a line of symmetry there, line of mirror symmetry. We've got one here on the diagonal and one here on this diagonal. There's nothing filled in, so that grid has all those lines of symmetry. Okay, so that's 1. Then how many symmetries do we have if we're just coloring one of the squares in? So we have one whole square colored in. Okay, now we no longer have all of these, don't have the diagonals. Wait. Yeah, this diagonal's gone. And this vertical is gone. And this horizontal line of symmetry has gone. There's only actually one line of mirror symmetry on that shape with one square filled in. Now, you could say that this is also a symmetry, but actually, if we rotate that square, then it's the same thing whether it's filled in there or there. So it's actually the same pattern because you can just rotate by 180 degrees and you've got the same pattern. So that one doesn't count. And then, so that's with one. And if you filled in, if you, instead of that one you had, actually I'll just leave them in, I'll just leave them colored, leave them on and make another one. So then the next one is to have to do 2 squares. Let's make a few more. Whoopsie. 1, 2. Oh my goodness. Talk about wobbly symmetry. The wobbliest non-regular symmetry I've ever seen. So for 2 squares, we can fill in those 2. We can fill in those 2. And we can look at other ones. We can look at other possibilities. Is this symmetrical? Are there any lines of symmetry in? So if we had 2, what if we did that and that? Are there any lines of symmetry in that? What about having 2? What about if we did, let's see, we've got that. What haven't we got? What haven't we done? Oh yes, this. There we go. That, perhaps we've got 3. And then what if we've got 4? Look at all the different symmetries. We've got to be systematic now. And always be systematic. Make sure you've got them all. And make sure you're not repeating. So if you rotated any one of those, would you come up with the same shape, with the same pattern? So are any of those redundant? Are any of those a copy of each other, simply a rotational, a rotated version of the same pattern? So what we're looking for is distinct patterns. So I'm not 100% certain of that yet. I'd have to actually do it systematically, and I'll do it. I think I might do that in the morning, actually do this one systematically, and then in the morning we'll look into doing the more elaborate ones now. So those 2, so we had 0 and we have 4 filled in. Well, there's only one possibility with 4, and are they, where are the lines of symmetry there? Where are the lines of symmetry with that one? Where's the lines of symmetry with that one? What about that one? What about those other 3? Are there any other possibilities that I have missed out? That's the next question. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at to be systematic. We'll check that in the morning to make sure we found them all. And then we're going to be looking at all the possibilities. Well, I don't think we're going to find them all tomorrow. It's not about finding them all. It's about getting systematic. The secret to learning, solving problems, the secret to making plans, the secret to assessing risks, whether you are planning a holiday or whether you're planning a business or building a house or climbing a mountain. You want to systematically make sure you have everything you need, and then you've made a plan which includes, systematically includes all possibilities. And especially with maths, you want to actually really do want to find all possibilities in order to develop the skill of thinking mathematically and solving mathematical problems. And be sure you have. This is the poster that we will be suggesting that you fill in over a period of time for a 3x3. It gives you some idea of how many symmetries we're looking at here. Getting this get nice and horizontal for you. And then keep looking there, how lovely. Maybe we'll just, so what we're going to do for the younger learners, we're going to do that. I'll put it here so you can see. For the younger learners, we'll do that. We're doing that at 10 in the morning as usual. And for them, we're looking at, we're just going to tear. We're not even going to use scissors. We're going to tear paper to make different shapes and look at symmetries. So we're just going to just enjoy reflection symmetries and look at the symmetry in your own body, that sort of thing. So for upper primary, lower secondary, every learner will have one sheet like that would be the plan. Every learner would have, have we got it here? A sheet like this, and that you'd want to start finding the symmetries and assessing whether or not you're repeating the same pattern, that it's just rotated, and find the lines of symmetries and all, which ones are and which ones aren't symmetrical. So are they all symmetrical? Where are the lines of symmetry, and what patterns are the same and which are different? So we're going to make sure we're not repeating. And then so we want to make sure we found all of the patterns of symmetry, with 0, with 1, with 2 boxes shaded, with 3 boxes shaded, with 4 boxes shaded, with 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 boxes shaded. So the most important thing is, so we'd be looking at what counts as the same and what counts as different. Have we found all the possibilities? That is the key question, because the only way to be sure of that is by being systematic. And how do we know we found it all? That's really a very strong mathematical concept, but not just for maths. It's a life skill. For anything that you're planning, have you thought of all the problems? Have you thought of all the possibilities? What if you're inventing something? What if you're doing something simple like planning a garden, planting plants, and you hadn't thought of something really obvious to, if you've got a problem, maybe you've got too many weeds or something's dying, like a doctor, for example, they want to make sure that they've thought of all the possibilities to help somebody get better. So for the years 9 to 12, so that's from ages about 14 to 18, that's where we're going to be doing the poster. So the idea will be you're doing the poster and you're going to fill in that poster. It doesn't have to be done in one sitting. It could be a poster that goes on your wall, in your bedroom, in your classroom, or in the kitchen even, and you slowly but surely fill in all those boxes. So this is with 0 shaded, with 1 or 8 shaded squares, 2 shaded, that kind of gives you a bit of a hint, with 3 shaded squares, 4 shaded squares, and then we'll be looking at what symmetries are possible. These are the kind of questions you can ask the learners. Instead of, we don't want to give them, one of the really important things, I call it not being a doofer. We don't want to be a doofer. We don't want to do it for them. We want the learnings to be to come from the inside. We want discoveries to happen, and that's the best kind of learnings, the deepest kind of learnings. So we don't want to tell them what to do. We want to ask key questions such as, shade in one square only. What symmetries are possible if you shade in one square only? Have you found all the possibilities? How do you know you found all the possibilities? If you're shading 2, 3, 4 squares, whatever it is, what symmetries are possible? And how are you going to record your findings? But in the 3 by 3 grid, you have 4 lines of symmetry, and you've got a rotational symmetry of order 4. So how is that helpful in working out all the possible symmetries in those shapes? Whoops, not showing you that, but you've now seen that you do actually have the solutions. You do not want to reveal those solutions. You can use those solutions to keep asking key questions. So if there are some fundamentals problems, for example, maybe there's the same pattern, just rotated, repeated, you can just keep asking, okay, have you found all them? Have you asked if they got any that are the same, just rotated? And you've got the cheat sheet to be able to check to see if they've actually found all the symmetries. But before you reveal it, you want them to convince you that they have found them, and that you want it's really easy to recognize when they go, yes, I have, definitely, as opposed to, I think I have. And then you see there's that moment where, there's some revelation. Sometimes the revelation happens earlier and it's actually a false revelation, or they just hadn't thought of everything, but that's where being systematic comes in. So that's where you can ask, okay, so they've been systematic up to this point. Now, Where's the extension? How are we going to reveal what they've missed? And then why is it so useful? There you go. You can just read that. Read that. I'm going to read it because it's well written. So the activity requires learners to recognize and visualize the transformations of a 2D shape. And it invites them to work systematically in a spatial environment. So being able to visualize shapes and work systematically. And it's accessible to most learners. So it's a low threshold, high ceiling activity, which means it's accessible to everybody, really. It's accessible to 3-year-olds. If you just give them the sheet and get them to draw, you know, it might look a bit messy, but you know what? They'll be engaging with the rest of, with everybody in the activity, which will be encouraging them as they get older, as they mature, to join in and just develop skills. At this point, they're just having a go. And as they get older, they'll be developing skills and they'll be doing the grids themselves in no time. So it's accessible to most learners, even if they need support in organizing and presenting their ideas. And if you are not sure yourself, do it together, work it out together. Say, well, not really sure how to do this, but let's do this together. Let's work it out together. That's excellent modeling of good practice. You're showing them that it's okay to not know. And what do you do when you don't know? You work it out. And not only that, you don't sit and work it out on your own. You can work it out together. You can get somebody to work it out with. And always keep it low key. We don't want to get stressed about anything. If things get stressful, by the way, just stop, go away, do something else, and then come back to it later when the stress levels have gone down. And so the learners will develop familiarity with reflection and rotational symmetry. I mean, really, they'll get very familiar with rotational symmetry because most learners will put the same pattern in rotated. So it's up to you. And if you're not sure yourself whether they've done that, again, do it together. Say, right, let's look for any possibilities of rotational symmetry. And you can get it and turn it around. You can cut one out and turn it round. Literally just turn it around and see if you can spot another one that's the same. So you could get a copy of it or make a copy of it and do it that way. And so you're developing visualization skills, spatial awareness, which is really important, especially when you come to do geometry questions just on a piece of paper. If you can visualize what they actually mean, then you can solve the problem. If it's just something you're detached from on a piece of paper, it's much harder to solve. So again, experience working systematically to find all possible solutions to a problem. That is huge. If you're good at that, if you become good at that, you become a good problem solver. You become a creative problem solver, and it means that problems that seem insurmountable, you can find a problem too. If you, I don't know when you're watching this, but right now we're in the middle of the COVID quarantine, and we've all had to become very creative. Some people have just held their hands up and going, I give up, I cannot do this. And others of us have put our thinking hats on and thought and come up with lots of ideas on how we can not only get through this, how we can grow through this, and how we can be of service to people such as yourselves. So what I'm doing is I'm doing these 3 daily lives. And actually today I'm doing 4 lives because I'm also working on times tables, talking about which I will be doing my 6 times table. I'll be training up my 6 times table at the end of this, as I've accepted the challenge of learning my 6 times table by rote, as in instant recall, by Saturday at 1 p.m. We're doing a daily live at 1 p.m. and the link is on the Making Maths Fun for kids of all ages. So please do join us for that. And tomorrow we're working on the other, I can't remember, 8 times table. Tomorrow we're working on the 8 times table. Today was the 6 times table. Please do go and follow that link and check out the live if you want to learn your 6 times table. So we're also getting experience of sharing work in a team and to cover all cases and achieve a set goal. And as I said, also to experience not knowing, and that not knowing is okay. And there is one answer, as it were, to this, but there's lots and lots and lots of different options and routes to that answer. And then the beauty is actually finding out that being convinced and convincing that you found all the possibilities. So that's the activity for the morning. I'm now going to rehearse, have a go at my 6 times table with a new method that I've never seen before. And the idea is it's visual. So I'm actually going to be doing this without any kind of cheat sheet. So see if I can do it from memory. The first thing I've got to do is, without seeing anything, I've got to just do my instant recalls. I've got to see if I can remember them, see if I can instant recall. 6 7s, 42. Okay, I hope I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. 6 7s, 42. 6 5s, 30. Oddly, 6 4s is one I struggle with. 24. That's just come into my head. Good. 6 10s, 60. 6 8s. Okay, 6 8s. Aha. Now I'm having to work that one out. I haven't got that yet. 6 8s. 6 8s. 48. 6 8s are 48, I think. 6. Such confidence. 6 8s are 48. 6 8s are 48, right? And then I'm going to just bring up 6 9s. That's 54. I know 6 6s. I know my square numbers. That's 36. Okay. Whoopsie. Sorry. So I'm going to draw tic-tac-toes. I'm going to draw 3 tic-tac-toes. And now we're going to make it visual. Now that I've done my instant recall practice, I'm going to make 3 of these. Oh, that's not very systematic. Not making very nice lines there. Right, now, so you can see all of these 6 times table. So we're going to start with, hope I remember this right. Now it's going to start with 0 0 0, 1 1 1, 2 2 2, 3 3 3, 4 4 4, 5 5 5. And really we want to do this other one below because we're following a pattern. So I'm actually going to do it below, even though you won't be able to see it all at the same time. I'll have to move the visualizer, but I think it'll be worth it because we're looking for a pattern. 6, whoopsie, that's not red. There is the next one. 6 6 6 7 7 7 8 8 8. And I'm going to have to investigate what happens after that. But for right now, we're now going to, for all of them, we're going to go 1. Oh dear, says she with confidence. Hold on. I'm going to sneak a peek. I've only done it once. 1 2 3. Ah, yes, I remember now. So now we've got 9 squares here. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then whoops, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Oh yes, cool. And then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now next thing we're going to do is draw a rhombus. It might be a square, but I'm going to make it a nice clear rhombus. We're going to go from there. I'm going to join those 4 points on each of these. And the points I'm joining six times table. Have I got this right? Have I got this right? Ah, no, I haven't. Okay, that didn't look right. So that's, I'll get rid of these. Okay. I was like, okay, those numbers aren't in the 6 times table. I did know that. So hopefully, let's see if I've got this right now. So we went upwards with the, the numbers now are going to go across. So I did that wrong, and that's all right, because that means I'll remember it better. So I've made a magnificent mistake. And what I asked myself, I made a magnificent mistake. What I asked myself immediately is, what did I learn? Well, I learned a good lesson on which way round this has to go. And when I do 1, 1, 2, 2, and now 3, and it goes across this way. And then this is what, when you're doing exams or when you're doing anything, when you're working it out, this is one of the huge things that is very valuable. And that is that, like, I looked at that and I double checked myself. I didn't just start blindly and go and find the numbers and get muddled up with the numbers. I did a quick evaluation, a quick estimate, a quick ballpark. Are my numbers right? And I saw these numbers, there's something wrong with these numbers. That's the first thing. I knew there was something wrong with the numbers. I wasn't sure what the problem was, but I knew there was something wrong with the numbers. And when you're doing any kind of activity, if you do that, any mathematical activity, or indeed anything that you're doing, always think about the end goal, and that will help you. Hope I've got this right. I'm going to cheat. Oh no, you see, I've done it again. See, that didn't look right. I'm like, why have I got to 77 and 68 is not in the 6 times table? So I've done it again. Look at that. I've got, that should be, I didn't increase that number. I didn't raise it incrementally. That should be a 5. This will look a lot tidier tomorrow. 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8. That's better. Now I've got some numbers that are in the 6 times table. So we can put our rhombus back in. Got a rhombus there. We never put the rhombus in there because I checked myself and I realized there was a problem. And that is really, that's one thing. See, I actually wasn't very good at maths. I never learnt my times tables, even though I had to go to remedial class, still never learnt them. I do know my square numbers, and I know some numbers. I know my 10 times table, that's easy. But I still managed to become an electronic engineer, which absolutely needs maths, because I do this. Because even though I have to work hard at it and struggle and go back and forth with it, I double check. I check, see, wait, am I in the right ballpark? And sometimes I can be completely way out of the ballpark, but there's something. I'm always checking, I'm always double checking and thinking, no, I know there's something wrong with this. I might not know what, and it might take me a little while to find out what, but I will do it and I'll get there. But I'm constantly checking, constantly double checking. I've got what they call coping mechanisms. I've got little systems that go on in my head because I do struggle with numbers, and I've got little systems, little coping mechanisms. I've got my bots in my brain that are constantly checking on things. So what have we got here? Let's take the root. Let's go with green. And we're going to take the root. So we start with 6, go from 6 to 12, from 12 to 18 to 24. And wait a minute, we're missing a number. Missing a super important number. We need a 30 there. We need a 60 there. And of course, that'll be a 90 here. Look at that. We've got a pattern going on here. We've got a pattern. In between each of these, we've got 30, 60, and 90. So we managed to, we'll see what happens. Right. So the top one, we've got 6, 12, 18, 24. So the 6 is there, 12 is there, 18 is there, 24 is there. And then we're going boing to the 30. Then we're going boing to the 36, boing to 42, boing to 48, boing to 54. I'm absorbing these numbers as I'm doing it because this is one I don't know. These two are my don't knows. 42 and 48 are my big don't knows. I thought I knew 54, but I actually always work it out. I always, when I want 9 times 6, I go to 10 times 6 and then take away 9. So I don't know it by rote. I don't have an instant recall on it. Boing, 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 and boing. So here we have a pattern. All right, so now we have a pattern. That pattern is becoming clearer as we go down using this way, this system, this grid system. All right, so I've now got a pattern. So now I'm going to review it. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 50, 54, 60, 66, 72, 78, 84, and 90. So I've gone way beyond the required. Now, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to actually know what those are. So this is 60, that's 10, 11, 12, 13 times 6, 14 times 6, and 15 times 6. And going up to the 15 times table is not required, but it gives you fluency. There are times when you, I did one the other day. I think it was 100 and, oh dear, it was something 130. It was the number 130 came into it, and all I had to do was know that I divided by 5 or something. Yeah, that was it. I think it was 130 divided by 5. I only had to know what 100 divided by 5 was and what 30 divided by 5 was, but I hadn't clicked that, and because I don't have that yet, but I will have come very soon now. The awareness that it was the 13 times table. It was the 13 times table. It was a number in the 13 times table. That's what it was. And I just had to know that it was the 10s and the 3s, and I could split them up. I think it might have been 13 times 5. So 10 times 5 is 50, and 10 times 3, 5 times 3 is 15. So it was 13 times 5 is 65. I think that was it actually. So it's have I got that right? Yes. Yeah, 65. I think I have to keep going around with it, but it's jiggery pokery like that is really helpful. Right, that's it. Now I'm just going to do one more time. I'm going to test I'm closing my eyes. 6 7s, ooh, 42. I'm going to say 42. 6 8s, I'm going to say 48, and then 6 4s, 24. 6 9s, 54. 6 14s, ooh, I'm gonna have to work that out. 6 14s, 72, 84. Okay, I had to work that one out. I didn't have instant recall, but I think I'm actually going to aim for instant recall all the way up to 15 for Saturday. That's my challenge. Thank you for joining. If you are on the YouTube channel, or if you like YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all these lives go on Bubbly Maths YouTube channel, and there's the really important YouTube channel is called Maths Toys, finding the maths in toys and maths in games and the games in maths. Please subscribe to both of those. They're in the links in the announcements at the top if you're on Facebook, or down below if you're on YouTube. Both of those links are there. Please subscribe, and please, if you like what we're doing on this in this group, please do share these lives or put a post on your own profile explaining why you like it, and encourage your friends to come and join us too. If you've got anybody that's learning at home, whether it be homework, whether it be in quarantine, or whether it be home educators or home schoolers, as they're called in America. Right, that's it for tonight, and we are using the Aiming High resources that are written by the amazing Tony Bearden, who has founded an organization which is now thriving in Africa called AIMSEC. And the idea of AIMSEC is that, sorry, I'm going to find it in a second, is that they are, I think these are the templates. There we go. No, that's not it. Oh, these are all the extra grids for you. The idea of this is, I know, it's over here. I got it out here so that I wouldn't have to do that at the end. The AIMSEC provides professional development for teachers in rural communities and disadvantaged communities in Africa, giving the children that there's some really dedicated, passionate teachers in Africa who just don't have much in the way of resources because of where they teach. And AIMSEC is one of the huge things that AIMSEC provides, apart from professional development courses, is these resources. And every one of these resources is made with the thought that the teachers can access these resources without needing special equipment, apart from in secondary school or high school, they need a compass and they need a protractor and a set square and a ruler. Apart from that, it's all scrap material, basically paper, cardboard, stuff that you can do our utmost to make all these activities available to people. And instead of having to download and print out, we also provide guides on how to actually make them yourself. So that's the resources. They're really they're the low threshold, high ceilings, so you can work in a team as a family group together, and everyone can do something within the activity that is stimulating and interesting. So that's it for tonight, except for the fact that I'm now going to see if I can stop sharing without cutting you off. That would be good. Yay. Okay, that's so far so good. Now let's see, what have we? Oh, Terry, hello. Helen, hello. Tommy Templeton, Cheryl, hello. Happy anniversary. Aileen Patel, Monica Jordan, Africa Safari, hello to Tanzania. Andy Davis and Eddie Ferreira up in north of England. So thank you very much. And I think that covers everything. So I know I need a producer to do all these button pressings for me. Thank you very much. See you 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to actually do the session with the learners. So that's from age 7 to 18. And then 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll do a session with the early years learners. So that's 4 to 6-year-olds. And we do need a grown up or an older sibling, somebody who's able to sit with the early year. Don't be a doofer, don't do it for them, but help facilitate so they can do their own thinking and be engaged and involved. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, same again. They will be preparing for the session on the following morning. Thank you very much, and good morning, good night, good day, good evening, good eye, and ciao. Take care. Thank you.